Turner, Katrina Turner. So Bettina and David were here, their daughter Katrina. So 3Ks of girls, and then Liam Wilbur, my son Ryan, and Dan is one of the 3 boys. In the time of Reverend
Oh yes, okay.
yeah, you were probably very young.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Religious Society, Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts. My name is Marissa Dewey, and I'm delighted to welcome you this morning. All of us at FRS come together as a church community, online and in person, committed to love, peace, and justice. Here, we hold up as core values authentic connection, courageous action, love, spirituality, and wonder. Our mission and our invitation to all of you is to come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, and transform our world. If you are visiting today or joining us for the first time, welcome. We are glad you are here. If you would like to access this morning's order of service online, please click on the link just below the live stream. I would like to draw your attention to the many events and activities going on here that are listed in your order of service. We have some exciting news to share today. For the first time since 2019, we have a group of youth preparing for a Justice Learning Trip. This coming June, a group of us will be heading out to the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, where we'll learn about life on the reservation, as well as about history, justice, and culture. We will be doing some work projects such as skirting trailers, building outhouses, and delivering beds. In the months leading up to our visit, we will be learning together, building community, and fundraising. Our first fundraiser, an envelope drive, kicks off today. Look for the colorful envelopes on display in the vestibule and please take one. The envelopes are numbered from 1 to 100, and by taking an envelope, you're pledging to donate the number on your envelope in dollars. So for example, if you took the envelope with a 48 on it, you're offering to donate $48 towards trip costs. Put a check or cash in the envelope and return it either to the basket by the display, to a trip participant, or to Julie Parker Amory, who's the Director of Faith Formation and Spiritual Exploration. Every single envelope counts. Our group will be hosting fundraisers throughout the year so that the trip is accessible to all youth, regardless of a family's resources. Please come to our fundraiser next Sunday, when we will be providing the soup for our Justice Sunday lunch. You've probably also noticed this television screen, which we will be using during our special congregational meeting immediately following the service. Thank you. It is good to be together.
Our call to worship this morning are the words of Wendell Berry as we enter into a month focused on a ministry theme of earth. When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the middle of the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. So may you be. You are faithfully called to worship.
Please join us in saying the chalice lightings as my fellow youth group members will come up and join me. Okay. Please join us in saying our chalice lighting as my fellow youth group members light the chalice. The words can be found in the online order of service. We gather this hour of people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
This morning also marks the second Sunday in the season of Advent. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the beginning of the church year, recognizing the transforming power of God or love in the world, and looking forward to the birth of Jesus and spiritual light. Christianity, however, is joined by many other traditions that celebrate light at this time of year: Hanukkah, solstice, Kwanzaa, for just a few. Each week until Christmas, we're lighting a new candle on the Advent wreath, the circle of greenery reminding us of the eternal cycle of life without beginning or end. The candles reminding us that we are called to be a light amid the darkness facing our world. The light of Advent grows brighter and brighter, guiding us toward personal peace, shared joy, and more love. This morning we light our second candle of Advent as a symbol of our longing for peace. We can bring hope into the world if we practice peacemaking. Our caring community aspires to be a source of freedom from violence and exclusion. May we become, as the poet June Jordan wrote, the ones we have been waiting for. Excellent. Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace that represent 2 places on earth that we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. We know that there are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. Our first candle is lit for countries and communities and villages around the world who last Wednesday honored World AIDS Day, a day when people worldwide unite in the fight against HIV, show support for people living with HIV, and commemorate those who have died from an AIDS-related illness. There are an estimated 38 million people around the globe who have the virus, with more than 35 million people who have died of HIV or AIDS-related illnesses since 1984. This does make it one of the most destructive pandemics in history. We pray that the memories of those who've lost their lives live on, and that all of those who love and cared for them know that we remember. To this we respond, peace, sol, shalom. Our second candle this morning is lit for all of the shelters and places offering warm spaces for sleep and warm food to eat for all those who are dealing with housing insecurity. May these people be treated with the dignity and respect we are all worthy of. May their bellies be full, their bodies be warm, and their hearts know peace, this day and every day. To this we respond, peace, sol, shalom. Please rise in body or in spirit, and let's join together in our opening hymn, number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. Please remain standing as we join our voices in our affirmation of faith, followed by the doxology. The words are in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated.
Good morning. I'm Lee Pearson, and this is my journey of faith. I've been a Unitarian Universalist my whole life. Although I was born into this church, I attended other churches in Michigan, Kentucky, and Ohio before returning here a few years ago. Most of that time, I didn't know what faith meant. I went to church because I liked what I heard and I liked the music, but it was mostly about being in community. It didn't center my life. Then, about 15 years ago, two things happened that profoundly changed my relationship with faith. One, I went to a UU General Assembly meeting, our national conference. The richness and diversity of our religion just blew my mind, and I began to take ownership of my faith. The second thing was attending the Wellspring program at our church in Columbus, Ohio. That's a program that will be starting here soon. Wellspring was not only faith-changing, but life-changing. My knowledge of our history and theology expanded, and I began to appreciate my own UU legacy. For 1 year, I met with 8 people twice a month, guided by our associate minister. It was similar to a chalice circle, but deeper and more extensive. Part of the program was working with a spiritual director. I'd never heard of that before. I didn't know what it was, but I soon began to treasure our time together. For years, I had longed to become more intentional about living, to have my decisions and my actions guided by intentions that matched my beliefs. I began to feel love emerge as a powerful theme. And as I became more engaged with my own church in Columbus, it actually became the center of my musical, my social, and spiritual life. Seeds were planted during that year. I didn't know it, but those seeds were growing in me and things were changing deep within my psyche. In my small group of 8, 6 of us had major life changes. One day, about a year later, I woke up suddenly knowing that after 31 years, my marriage was over. 6 weeks later, I was gone to move back east. Leaving my church community in Columbus was incredibly devastating, but coming back to this one was a kind of renewal. And the addition of Reverend Rebecca as our spiritual leader only reinforced my belief in love as the center of my faith. Then came COVID. Shut up in my one room with no one to see or touch, my world began to shrink. My heart, as Dr. Seuss said of the Grinch, grew 3 sizes too small. The uncertainty and the lack of safety triggered many old wounds. Safety is a primary survival need, and I felt unsafe in just about every aspect of my life, including here, the very place that was supposed to be a sanctuary. Isolation and depression took over, and I couldn't find love or joy. It was a dark 2 years. Basically, I lost my faith. Finally, this fall, as COVID risk declined, I felt able to return. Re-engaging with you all and singing in the choir have helped my heart grow a little. It feels good, although still a little scary to be back. All this is to say, I thought I had it figured out. I thought I knew what love was. I thought it would guide me through all kinds of troubles. But clearly, the journey continues. I'm working with a spiritual director again, and slowly beginning to unravel my troubles, and, not surprisingly, my joy. In the words of one of my favorite hymns, I know this rose will open. We invite the children and youth to go downstairs to their classes, and we'll sing them out with hymn number 413, Go Now in Peace.
Thank you, Lee. This is the time in our service when the offering will be gratefully received. The generosity of our community is an essential ministry that supports the work of the church, both here in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering not designated as a pledge goes to a local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. The December shared collection will support the Community Action Incorporated Energy Program, which provides heating assistance based on household income and size to residents of Newburyport and all of our surrounding and nearby communities. You can check if you are eligible and make an appointment online on the website for Community Action Incorporated. Let's keep all our neighbors warm this winter. Thank you. In order to give online today, please use the link in your order of service or below the live stream. You can also make a contribution by text. And of course, you can always mail a check to the church as well. Thank you. The offering will now be gratefully received.
I just want to share a correction that the gathering music was The Gathering, and the music that Aster is so generously sharing with us now is Lullaby for a Lame Lamb.
Thank you, Aster, and thank you, Lee, for the gifts that you offer us. Each Sunday, we take time in our service to lift up the joys and the sorrows of our beloved church community. This morning, Betsy Hazen, our pastoral care associate, will light the candles as I read what has been shared with me in advance of our service today. You're also welcome to write any joy or concern you have in the journal that's in the vestibule each Sunday that we can share with the congregation. This morning, we light a candle of concern for Janine Brunel and her family, who share the sorrow that Janine's 3-year-old nephew, Sawyer Dunham, has been in intensive care since last Tuesday, struggling with a respiratory virus. Sawyer has experienced health and developmental challenges since his birth. His ongoing care has brought a new understanding of the actions and meaning of love and acceptance to our family, says Janine. We ask that you hold Sawyer and his parents, Elizabeth and Peter, and his siblings, Caleb, Finnegan, and Willa, and Janine and her family in your hearts and prayers through the week ahead. We light another candle of love and care and concern for Ken and Liz Kretsch and their family, as Liz has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, possibly also spreading to other parts of her body. She is receiving the treatment that she needs to relieve her pain, increase her appetite, and hopefully stop any further spreading of the cancer. Please hold Liz and Ken and all of their family in your prayers and thoughts this week and every week. And I'd like to light two spontaneous candles of joy. One is to see you all here today. I did not wear waterproof mascara, but gosh, do you show up. You are my people. And I light another candle of joy as I looked out and saw a friend from the Unitarian Society of Hartford, John Stowe, no idea he was going to be here. This speaks to the testament of our faith that Lee also was talking about. John, I raised my children in Hartford, and he sang the 12 days of Christmas to my kids. John, they are grown and well and have their own lives now. Thank you. And we light a final candle of joy and concern, as we do each week, for all of those things in our heart that, although unspoken or unnamed at this time, are held in just as much love and care. You can probably, yeah. So today's service, as I said, as we're entering into a ministry theme of Earth for this month, today's service is largely based on the work of Robin Kimmerer and her book, Braiding Sweetgrass. In this book, Robin introduces the Thanksgiving Address. This address was used by the 6 nations of the Iroquois Confederacy to open and close major gatherings and meetings, also sometimes used individually at the beginning or end of a day. They are known as the words that come before all else. It is how many Indigenous children start their school day. And we'll be sharing with you a shortened version, one that we ask and invite you to participate in, as Robin reminds us that we will all live in gratitude when we remember, feel, and know our connection to the earth and her creatures. Marissa, Jessica, or I will read a statement of thanksgiving to a part of nature. After each acknowledgement, we invite you all to respond. Now our minds are one. Ideally, we would be doing this together outside, barefoot, and holding hands. So go there now, look out the windows, feel your feet on the floor, and remember we are thanking the earth.
The people. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We've been given the duty of life in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now
our minds are one.
The Earth Mother. We are all thankful to our mother, the Earth, for she gives us what we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send greetings and thanks.
Now our minds are one. The waters. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the Spirit of water. Now our minds are one.
The fish. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So, we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks.
And
Now our minds are one.
The plants. Now we turn to the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come.
Now our minds are one. The food plants. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting of thanks. Now our minds are one.
The medicine herbs. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines.
Now our minds are one.
The animals. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We are honored by them when they give up their lives so we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We are glad that they are still here, and we hope that it will always be so.
Now our minds are one. The trees. We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are one.
The birds. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greeting and thanks.
Now our minds are one.
The four winds. We are all thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds.
Now our minds are one. Closing words. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. Now our minds are one.
My DNA results came in just as I suspected. My great-great-grandfather was a monarch butterfly. Much of who I am is still wriggling under a stone. I am part larva, but part hummingbird, too. There is dinosaur tar in my bone marrow. My golden hair sprang out of a meadow in Palestine. Genghis Khan is my fourth cousin, but I didn't get his dimples. My loins are loaded with banyan seeds from Sri Lanka, but I descended from Ravana, not Ram. My uncle is a mastodon. There are traces of white people in my saliva. 3.7 billion years ago, I swirled in hydrogen dust, dreaming of a planet overgrown with lingams and yonis. More recently, say 60,000 BC, I walked on hairy paws across a land bridge, joining Sweden to Botswana. I am the bastard of the sun and moon. I can no longer hide my heritage of raindrops and cougar scat. My mud was molded with your grandmother's tears. Admit it, you have wings, vast and crystal like mine, like mine. You have sweat dark and salty like mine, like mine. You have secrets, silently singing in your blood like mine, like mine. Don't pretend that Earth is not one family. Don't pretend we never hung from the same branch. Don't pretend we do not ripen on each other's breath. Don't pretend we didn't come here to forgive.
I wanted to say, read it again. It's so fun. Jessica and I enjoyed that all week. And it is true. It is true. What is the nature of your homeland? Tell me what your homeland land taught you when you were very young. Did you learn of resiliency from the dandelion making her way through the seemingly impenetrable city sidewalk? Did you find yourself surrounded by the majesty of the mountains or the embrace of the sea? Did the river or stream inspire or comfort you? Or were you left longing, sitting inside of a house, looking out at the great mystery all around you? What is the nature of your homeland? Tell me what she taught you. I am of the land of the corn stalks, taller than a child, even in junior high school. A woman in training, finding herself comforted by the soft bed of pine needles, sheltered in the dark forest areas, behind a house filled with anger. I am the land of the milking cows being fed, with calves nestling up to their teats, a land of good and plenty. Tell me of your homeland and what it taught you. And then share with me, if you will, when you first learned of the danger she faced, this earth of ours. When did you realize that her fate was perilous and not a guaranteed fact of existence? When did you stop exhaling and hold your breath in sheer overwhelm at the immensity of the damage humans have caused and the problems facing our planet and her creatures? Were you taught that the earth sings? That woodpeckers and sparrows have journeys of flight involving their hearts as well as their wings? Can you tell the difference in a wild animal's cry for safety and one appealing to a prospective mate? Did you know trees communicate more than meets the eye? And flowers are filled with life's spirit and medicine. Or were you taught, like I was, that humans are the quintessential aim of all existence, and that the rest of creation is less than, if alive at all? No, I was not taught the language of animacy by everyone, though some people absolutely inspired this knowing and reverence in me. My father, who carried me backpacking through forests up and down the eastern seaboard, who bought me a subscription to Ranger Rick magazine for Christmas every year, who never laughed at my dreams of saving the planet or helping hurt animals. My father taught me the language of animacy, and for that I am forever grateful. The language of animacy in which all of creation has agency and life force is ubiquitous with indigenous people and their beliefs. Some white people mock this. Many romanticize it. It is time to realize its truth and to honor it. It is time to recognize and live in relationship with the earth and our fellow creatures. It is time to stop objectifying, denying, and distancing ourselves from the reality of life force all around us. I could have begun this month of worship with a ministry theme of earth from an intellectual place. I could have privileged facts and statistics and scientific predictions, all of which are overwhelming. They easily lead to dismay or denial as a way of coping with their enormity. I might have entered more gently and offered a list of do's and don'ts to help us respond to the climate emergency. Those things matter. The predictions are valid and sound, and everything we do, small and large, makes a difference. We ought to be knowledgeable and change what we can in ourselves, our community, and the world. However, I am not a scientist. I am not an ecological expert. Many of you know much more than I. I am a mother, a theologian, a pastor. I am called to remind you that all the knowledge in the world about anything will not change our ways if our hearts do not also change. In fact, a changed heart, be it broken, open, or both, is the most assured way to engagement and change. I want you to look outside for a moment. I love it when people tell me that they sort of like the sermon, they really like the music, but they love the windows. That makes me really happy. I want you to look out the windows. I want you to miss church on Sundays and walk in the forest or swim in the waters, especially if you find communion there. Our world is alive, my friends. She is crying for us to be in relationship with her. And the best way to do this is to be and feel our connection to the earth and all the living things with and around us in our bodies and our hearts. This means we will feel their pain. We will also be blessed by their gifts. We will not take it for granted. And we will be awed by their beauty and the miraculousness of their lives. The ant, the grass, the tree stump, fallen in the wind that is now home to the critters. Franciscan priest Richard Rohr encourages all of us to spend time genuinely communing with a single part of nature. It is the same as anything else. When we get too big, when we take our scope so far back, we may live here, but it's hard to feel it here and in our bodies. So he says, pick a single part of nature. Maybe get down on our knees and be with a blade of grass. Really be with that blade of grass. See the dew twinkle in the early morning light. Watch the chlorophyll rebound in green vibrancy when it rains. Maybe laugh at the grass as it lies flat under the weight of your crawling grandchild and bounces back when they crawl to the next spot. Robin Kimmerer encourages us to realize how the English language has been used to distance us from the animacy of creation. Her book is amazing, and I know many of you have read it. I'd love to do a book group about it. It is filled with such riches. And the story of her writing it, by the way, is equally just profound, right? People asked her, where does it fit on the bookshelf? Is it memoir? Is it science? Is it essays? And she's like, it's truth. Where's that shelf in the bookstore? She talks about the English language, and she says, and I quote, linguistic imperialism has always been a tool of colonization, which renders the beloved land as lifeless object, the forest as bored feet of timber. She says in English, in the English language, you're either a human or a thing. Think about that, right? The bird, the dog, maybe dogs are he and she or they, but, right? A human and an it. The sea, the sky, the grass. In Potawatomi, Kimmerer's language of origin, the world is divided into animate and inanimate, rather than male and female. And they speak differently of everything that is alive. She invites us to connect with life beyond humans using pronouns rather than it when referring to animals and parts of nature. She says it objectifies and distances us from the living world. She imagines using a pronoun of ki, ki, which in the plural form is kin. Thus, a beautiful blue heron taking off from the marsh is not an it is a ki. And the seals in the ocean are kin rather than objects, separate from our fate. When we do this, and it's been fun for me to begin to live with this in my body, I feel it immediately. I live and I relate to the world so differently. She says that it can become a democracy of species instead of a tyranny of one. When we live in relationship with the living earth and her creatures, we are not alone. We are kin. We feel gratitude for her many gifts. We feel compassion for the pains being inflicted on life around us. We feel grief and anger, and we are called to do what we can to love and protect the living web of which we are a part, because it breaks our heart not to do so. And that's where I invite us to reside. As a mother, as a theologian, as your minister, I invite us to reside in our hearts and our bodies and to relate to creation in love and gratitude. When Robin Kimmerer first began to write about this Thanksgiving address, which Marissa and Jessica and I shared a very abbreviated version, by the way, she was concerned about appropriation, right? She's a member of the Potawatomi Nation and not the Iroquois Confederacy who created the beautiful words. So she approached a faith keeper, Orion Lyons, with this question. She asked, is it okay if I write about these words and tell the story of the school children that say them every morning in their school? The reply that this person gave haunts me. Because I think we're taught to believe it's always appropriation, right? And this is what he said. He said, of course you should share those words. We've been waiting 500 years for people to listen. If they had understood the Thanksgiving address, we wouldn't be in this mess. She goes on to invite us as the readers to imagine what would it be like to have our school children recite the Thanksgiving address instead of the Pledge of Allegiance. She says no malintent to veterans who've served our country. She writes how her hopes extend beyond many people's views of the Republic. And I want to quote her. She says, the boundaries of what I honor are bigger than the Republic. Let us pledge reciprocity with the living world. If what we want for our people is patriotism, then let us inspire true love of country by invoking the land herself. If we want to raise good leaders, let us remind our children of the eagle and the maple. If what we aspire to is justice for all, then let it be justice for all of creation. And so may we enter our month-long journey into a ministry theme of earth. May this be but the beginning of a lifelong journey toward wholeness. Amen, and blessed be. Let's rise in body or in spirit and join now in singing our closing hymn, number 51, Lady of the Season's Laughter. Please remain standing and let's join together our voices on our unison benediction as Jessica extinguishes the chalice. And again, for those of you here for our meeting, if we can find our way out after, it's going to start promptly at noon and must end before 1. So if you haven't yet checked in and you're a member and would like to participate, which we hope you do, please check in the vestibule. And if you're a friend or a visitor, you're welcome to stay and watch us in good work. You just won't be able to vote. Let's join our voices in our unison benediction. The words are in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. My friends, as we begin to prepare ourselves to depart from this time together, may we go stronger in our conviction and in our faith and in our love for one another, for ourselves, for the earth, for all of her creatures. May we go blessed. May we go filled with acceptance for wherever we are in our life's journey. And may we go knowing that there is always here a place for you. Go in peace, my friends. Return again in great joy. Amen and blessed be.